Welcome everyone to my channel. This is my first video. Starting from this video, I will introduce the I Ching and its 64 hexagram to you all. Of course, before introduce this, we still need to understand some basic concepts and the culture behind them. In Chinese culture, the universe was born in Wuji, which is what astronomy refers to as a singularity. However, it is unknown whether the singularity will lead to destruction or evolve into the universe. So, Wuji represents the infinite possibility, just like the Schrödinger's cat. After the universe underwent the Big Bang, the Earth was then born. After its birth, it was likely a fiery ball, possessing the power to burst at any moment. Although it may seem clean on the surface, there is actually tremendous energy hidden within, and this emergency is sufficient to support the emergence of life. So this period can be called Taiji, the beginning of all life. Now let's move on to introduce the Yang Yi and Yin Yi that were born from Taiji. Taiji gave birth to Yang Yi and Yin Yi. Somebody have question, why do we use a line to represent Yang? We will take just one example. After a long period of cooling, the atmosphere gradually formed and evolved over Earth. It is like a layer that covers us and has the power to transform the interior into a single whole, rather than disintegrating. You can understand it as a dome within another dome written by Stephen King. So we use a line to represent Yang, which represents the layer that covers us. And the Yang also has the ability to prevent something from splitting and the ability to gather strings, just like a pine trees on the edge of the tree don't fall but continue to grow there. And what about Yin? On the ancient Earth, the liquid function of water vapor into rain, eventually forming the oceans, and why it can be hold things without overflowing, because its interior is empty. The Maria Trench is one example. So it doesn't overflow but can continually absorb. Similarly, land is like an ocean. Wherever we bury anything in it, it will be absorbed by the land. So we use two separate lines to represent yin, just like when we play as children by throwing stones into water. The water would absorb the stones instead of throwing them back. And when rainwater accumulates and forms the ocean, similarly, small rivers also form. And eventually, all these small rivers flow into the ocean. Therefore, yin also has the nature of flowing. On the contrary, the flow of yin is active, while yang is static. So the yin and yang come into being, and the yin and the yang come into being, and from this yin and yang, four symbols were generated, namely the greater yang, lesser yin, lesser yang, and greater yin. So everyone can consider the sun as the greater yang, because only with sunlight from the sun can life on Earth grow. The energy of the sun is very strong. The ozone layer protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays. The ozone layer protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays, just like adding a lead to the sky. So we use two yangs to represent the greater yang. And for the lesser yin, we can consider it to be the cloud, because the distance of the cloud is closer than ours to the sun, and the clouds are also in a flowing state, possessing the characteristic of the yin. Therefore, we use the yin above the yang to represent that inherent characteristic of the yin, but still to be the yang part. We call them lesser yin. Since yin is fluid, the greater yin is used to represent water, river, and oceans, Compared to the yin symbol, the greater yin is like an ocean that can hold much more. Therefore, we use two yin symbols to represent the greater yin. And what about the lesser yang? Currently, the simplest ways to understand it is as a mountain, because the interior of the mountain is made of soil and may even be hollow. However, from outside, we can't see this, so exterior appears firm and unbreakable, but the interior is soft and even hollow. Therefore, we use yang on the outside to reinforce yin inside, and yin inside to represent the softness inside. That represents lesser yang. And for simple give rise to the eighth trigon. The eighth trigon can escape the ancient earth. That's all for today. In the next video, we will start to explain the prenatal eighth trigon and the postnatal eighth trigon. So, see you later. Bye bye.